Shalom. First, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the saints of Yakim. Pushing this truth. Shalom. All right, we're going to get right into it with this article. It says U.S. economy will slow markedly, but dodge a recession as Fed hikes rates. Goldman predicts. Goldman Sachs, a recession is not off the table next year, which is all a lie because we're already in a recession, if not entering into a depression right now. And when I say we, I'm talking about this American economy. You know, the people over here in America, primarily, the economy, it's a ruin. If you don't believe it, just go outside your door, right up and down the street and go to your nearest gas station. These high gas prices takes a toll on the economy. The way, goods are moved around the country, which charges, higher prices for transportation. People stop buying as much as the prices increase, the less people buy, and so on and so on. But it says Goldman Sachs, economists expect the Federal Reserve to bring the U.S. economy to a grinding halt in order to cool inflation, but believe central bank policymakers may be able to successfully pull off their aggressive rate hike plan without dragging the country into a recession, which is BS. Again, you gotta keep calling out this so-called white man on his lies. All these so-called experts, all these big names they have on TV, they all been wrong, because they're not set up to get it right. They're here to fool the masses. They all sit in these big meetings, the WEF, Davos, the Beberg group, all these people, Council of Foreign Relations, they all sit around these groups and these councils and come up ways to weaken the economy, weaken the nations, and to eventually to collapse it all, in order to bring in the NW0, the great restart, you know. So all this is coming into play with their agenda. They plan to collapse everything and bring in that charagma. But we're going to continue with this article. It says, with supply chain snarls starting to ease, trillions of dollars in government stimulus quickly depleting, and more workers likely to return to the labor force soon, the Fed may not have to raise interest rates as quickly as some economists feared. Hatzis wrote, although the unexpected slowdown in first quarter growth suggests that near-term succession risk has increased in a mechanical sense, the strategist said that other activity measures imply that output is still expanding. How everything is still expanding when, I watch these prepper videos, these economist videos, and they putting out reports that there's shortages going on. Factories are shutting down for 3-4 weeks because they can't get the parts. So how are they saying things are exploding? If it is, this is at the end of it. It's like right before everything crashes. They still have some stuff that's been where they ordered that was stuck out at sea for a while, and that's starting to flood. But once that runs out, it's straight chaos, man. You really gonna see how things is gonna get ugly out here, man. People not shopping as much. Food prices are steadily increasing. People being laid off. Truckers are starting to park their trucks. So where is all this rosy news Where they getting all this rosy news from? Everything is peaches and cream, and you go out and you see with your own eyes, you see it's a totally different story here. It says the Goldman analyst said the Fed still needs to take strong action to ensure that wage growth does not surge, creating a wage price spiral that pushes inflation even higher. The central bank will need to reduce economic growth about 1% to 1.5% in order to successfully bring down labor demand and rebalance the labor market. Declining labor demand does not require a recession, but does require over a year of below potential growth. Just wrote, this implies that there is a coherent but narrow path for a soft landing. There's no soft landing coming to this place. America's done. There's no soft landing. The word's been going out, from the bald-headed Edomite, KS. It's like you're saying, it's time for a great redo. And they said the inflation, it takes years to get under control. You just can't turn the switch on and turn it off as you will. It says there are growing fears on Wall Street that the Fed may drag the economy into a recession as it seeks to tame inflation, which climbed by 8.3% in April, near a four-decade high. Bank of America, as well as Fannie Mae and Deutsche Bank, are among the Wall Street firms forecasting a downturn in the next 2 years, along with former Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke. So now they're telling the truth in this part right here. I think it's going to believe. I believe it's going to be even sooner than the next 2 years. Before the end of the year. You're going to really start seeing some things crack around fall. It says Goldman Sachs has not fully ruled out the possibility of a recession, particularly if pandemic-related inflation drivers do not cool off as expected. If wage growth and job openings do not normalize on their own at all, the reduction in labor demand required to restore balance to the labor market will likely entail a recession, they wrote. They projected the Fed will raise the short-term interest rate to range 3% and 3.25 by 2023, up from the current level of 0.75 to 1%. That would mean the central bank, which already hiked rates by half a basis point in May for the first time in 2 decades, raises rates at every meeting this year, including 3 more half-point increases. In terms of near communication, there is little incentive for Fed officials to deviate from their relatively hawkish framing of the last few months, the economist wrote. And it says Fed Chairman Jerome Powell has acknowledged there could be some pain associated with reducing inflation and curbing demand, but pushed back against the notion of an impending recession, identifying the labor market and strong consumer spinning as bright spots in the economy. Still, he has warned that a soft landing is not assured. Of course, a soft landing is not assured. They like the so-called white man. He uses a method as, you have to slow boil a frog. You don't put a frog in hot water. You slowly increase the heat on the frog until it boils to death. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to give you this glimpse of hope that things could get better, and that, the so-called white man, Esau Edom, has everything under control, which he does has everything under control, because this is planned. It just didn't happen on its own. From all the money printing, from all the stimuluses, few hundred billion there, few more 100 billion there, throwing all these numbers around, all this money, and running up the deficit. This is what you get. But this time it's different. This is not like the 1970s where, they had the recession, inflation was running kind of hot, and everything was, it was going to be all right. It was just another trying time for America, and it was going to bounce back. But this is not the case this time because everything's in the place now. With the Charagma, that's around the corner. As you can see, the civilization's collapsing. The people are morally, bankrupt spiritually. They obsess about the alphabet group. These celebrity chefs, are on a high pedestal. All this was like in the days of Rome, man, to where when all these things was taking place, focusing on gender, alphabet groups, open sodomy and all this kind of, praising sodomites. This is the end, man. This is the end of this place. And the water Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah for that. Because the man of the Lord, we ready to get out of here. We tired of looking at this place and dealing with this place, man. This place known as America is hell. And with Esau Edom as a whole running, no matter what country it is, what state, what province, and the so-called white man's ruling, it's hell for people. We're going to get some precepts. We're going to go to the book of Habakkuk 2. We're going to start at verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. So yeah, being a man of the Lord, I have to be on my watch. I have to warn the people, the Israelites, at that. Even though we do have to tell the other nations their judgment, but primarily we sent to the lost sheep, to the house of Israel, and Israel only, to give you warning. And part of this warning is telling you about things about to collapse. And you don't have much time to turn back to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. Time is running out. Food is going to get real scarce here very soon. And you can just sit here and walk around with your head in the clouds like nothing's going to happen. And you're going to get swept out to sea by this great tsunami that's coming. Verse 2. And the Most High answered me, said, write the vision and make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that readeth it. So yeah, the vision is, we make it plain upon the tables that Esau Edom, the so-called white man's going down. His kingdom's collapsing. His power is fading very rapidly. The Charagma, the thing that goes in your right hand on your forehead, is here. Talked about inflation. It's here. All that, we made it plain upon the tables, man. Verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come. It will not tarry. So yeah. And at the end, it's speaking. As you see, America is joining up with Iran to go to war. You got Russia talking big talk. Talking about nuking the U.S. And all this is all pointed towards the end, has been prophesied in the scriptures. It's going to get a chance where Russia's going to nuke this place, known as America. It's coming. And what you've been seeing in the news is all the prep talk to get you ready for it. And it says, hey, it will not tarry. Yeah, because everything that was mentioned in these scriptures is coming to pass, just like I mentioned before. And it's here. Only thing really waiting now is to get things popping with the collapse, Jacob's trouble. And then after that, everything just snowballs from there. The mandatory Charagma in your hand, World War III. and then we out of here. The return of Yahweh, and then, hey, and it's adios America, man. Verse 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So yeah, let's talk about the so-called white man. His soul which is just lifted up is not upright in him. Because look, no matter what, this man can't deal right. He can't stand the law, statute, and commandments. He hate the law, statute, and commandments that was given by the Most High. He hate them so much, he went and created his own laws, the Constitution. He went and he said, you know what, he could do better. He has his own laws. And he has the other one, what's that? The Bill of Rights. He has all this crap, but, he refused to follow the law, which the world is going, he's going to eventually have to learn these laws, and he's going to have to, he knows them, but he's going to actually have to do them in the kingdom of heaven. So right now, Esau, Edom, he's in rulership, and he's doing his thing. So this man, while he's still in power, he's still going to promote, these wicked, holidays that he have. The alphabet gang, he's going to steadily promote that. Bestiality, pedophilia. He's going to do that while he's long in power, but, his days is running out on that. Verse 5, he also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Yeah, he transgressed by wine. All these BS philosophy that he pushed in the earth, women rights, do what you want, you only live once, do as thou wilt, saying a man could be a woman could be a man. That's how you transgress by wine. Democracy. And I'm talking about Esau Edom, the so-called white man. He's a proud man. Yeah, he's very proud. Neither keepeth at home. Who enlarges his desires as hell. Yeah, he never keep at home. He got bases all over the world. Military bases. And he's steady covered in fields. Like saying him, who enlarges his desire as hell. This man never has enough. He wants what you got and more. And once he done sucking off you, leeching off you, he goes on to something else he can leech on. He's never happy. And said, and is his death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathering unto him all nations, and heap it unto him all people. So he sucks up and leeches off everybody. Even his own people. The so-called white man, he's the cancer, he's the leech, he's the cockroach of the earth, man. So you can put that in the transcript as I'm making this video. Make sure you got it spelled correctly. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, destruction to him that increaseth which is not his. How long? And to him that laden himself with thick clay. And that thick clay is talking about debt. D-E-B-T. He laden himself with thick clay, exploding deficits. That's what he does. This man, he buries himself in fiat currency, man. Buying up other nations. Buying off other nations, I should say. He's not financially responsible. So this man, this so-called white man, neither is he, his soul is not upright in him, but he's a disaster, pretty much. He's a disaster. He's irresponsible. He's not financially stable in the mind. He's reckless. And the destruction to make it plain upon the table is part of that too. You know, it's been prophesied that he's gonna go down and go into slavery, and here we are in them last days. And as you see, this man's kingdom is going down right before our eyes. You know, but I just wanted to bring these precepts out. I pray this video was edifying, and to the sons of Yakim, man, keep pushing. Shalom.